I'm not a millionaire. I don't run a business. I don't make crazy money. I work a normal job and I'm still building real wealth. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly how I'm doing that. Most people think you need to earn more, continually earn more to build wealth. I don't think that's true. Although it will help and it'll speed up your savings and your wealth building rate, it's not necessary to truly be successful and build wealth in the long run. Me personally, I used to think, all I used to think about or relate to is money equals income. And I wasn't investing at first. I didn't. My parents didn't tell me, oh, put away your birthday money into an index fund or into the market and it'll grow for you. Hindsight's 2020. They didn't really know better at the time, or they weren't really told that when they were younger, so it wasn't really ingrained in them to tell us, which not blaming them by any means. I definitely wasn't investing early on, or as early as I wanted to when I started investing. But I guess, hindsight's 2020, you can't really go back and fix that. If I knew better, I probably would have started right out of high school, or probably even before high school. Like I would save up birthday money, I wouldn't spend it, or I wouldn't buy new toys. And I would definitely start when I graduated high school and got my first job. I would definitely put a lot more of that money, instead of putting it into the bank and getting like 0.00001% interest on it. I actually would have put it into index funds, into the market, and would have actually made myself some money. But you can't go back and fix the past. So that was mainly my main reason I wasn't investing earlier than I wanted. But you don't know what you don't know at the end of the day. So like I said, if I can go back and change it, I would. But you really can't. And I would definitely, like I said, move a lot of the money I was just putting in my bank savings account and my bank checking account. And I would have put that into like a high yield savings account, which could get you like 3 to 4% interest rate per year, instead of, like I said, the 0.0000 whatever 1% you would get in a bank. And I definitely would have put a bunch of it into the stock market that averages around 10% interest rate over the last couple decades, almost century at this point, probably. And I realized no one was coming to save me. You at the end of the day, you have to do your own research. You have to research what you think will be best for you and your life. And if I didn't sit down and figure out what I want out of life and the way I would achieve said goals that I want out of my life, no one was going to come offer me that or say, oh, hey, you want this goal, or you have this dream in life, here you go, here's the money to do it. Maybe you get lucky, maybe I get invited onto a Mr. Beast challenge and I make a bunch of money, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. I'm not gonna hold my breath. So I ultimately came to the conclusion, like, hey, I have to build this thing myself. It's not going to happen if I don't build it myself, if I don't put the necessary steps in plan or the actions in plan to execute this goal of mine. So I think this is where I ultimately started separating myself from a lot of people my age. I think a lot of people my age, they don't take money very seriously, or they may underestimate the potential of slow and steady investing, slow and consistent investing. But I'm going to keep it, very, very boring, very basic. This isn't financial advice by any means, but I wouldn't recommend something to you guys, whether it be type of investment account or types of stocks or index funds to invest into, that I am personally not investing into. I just wouldn't, what I suggest or what I show you I'm investing in, I would probably recommend it to you guys, because I'm doing the same thing. But like I said, not a financial advisor, not a financial expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I have done my research. I've talked to a lot of people about it, and this is kind of the best things that work for me. So take it with a grain of salt, but here it is ultimately. I'd say bucket one is all about retirement. It's all about, hey, this money is most likely not going to get touched until it comes to that retirement age, which I think with these accounts is 59 and a half. So like I usually just round it up to 60 years old to make it easy to remember. That is a 401k, like a 401b, 401a, kind of whatever your employer offers. I think it's typically a 401k, so that's kind of what I just stick with. Look for, obviously, it'd be nice if your employer has some sort of match to your 401k contribution. So, like for simplicity's sake, let's say if you put in 3% of your salary, your company will match that 3%. So if 3% of your salary is $3,000, they will match that $3,000. Only up to that, though. If you want, you can put 10% of your salary, 15% of your salary, 50%, whatever you want, but they will only match up to 3% of your salary. At the end of the day, that is like the number one investment account, because that is a money glitch. You're literally doubling your money for free. Like I said, if you put just up to the match, so if you put your 3% salary, $3,000, let's say, they'll match 3,000. You just got a free $3,000. So it's, like I said, it's a money glitch. After that match, after you reach the match limit, or the match max, I guess, I personally wouldn't put any more money into the 401k. It's just, you don't have as much flexibility in the type of stocks or in type of investments that fund is managing, I guess. It's typically your company manages that 401k account. They decide what that money is investing into. So like I said, put the 3K in there, get the 3K match, and then we'll move on to another one, which is the Roth IRA for me. This has a max per year. I think this year it is $7,500 you can invest into a Roth IRA account. And what's nice about these is your money is already taxed before you put it in. So like they already take your taxes out, your Social Security tax, all the taxes we get taken out of our paychecks every 2 weeks or every week, however you get paid. But what's great about this account is the investments inside of it grow and compound tax-free. So you're not getting taxed on any of the money that your investments are making over the years, over the 10, 20, 30, 40 years that you're probably putting money into this account. And then when you do hit that retirement age, it's time to, take that money out, and it's actually tax-free when you start to take the money out. So it's nice, you're not getting taxed on possibly a couple $1 million when it's time to, slowly take that money out. So very cool account. Very nice retirement account that you guys should look into, that I personally, do for myself. But like I said, it does have that cap per year. So once you hit that $7,500 invested, at least this year, maybe it'll go up next year. That's it. You can't put any more money into that account. One way that I try to stay consistent with investing is I always try to set up, or I guess I should say, I personally don't do this, but I recommend it for people who maybe aren't as strict. Every 2 weeks, I'll put a set of money into the accounts and I'll invest it. Automatic investing, check your investment firm, the one that you're currently using, to see if it allows automatic investing. Like it'll pull, let's say you set it to pull $200 from your bank account and then put it into Apple stock for whatever reason. Then every 2 weeks, your paycheck hits your bank account. It goes and grabs $200 and invests it for you. So it's nice, kind of like a set it and forget it. So you don't have to go in every week or 2 weeks and manually invest. I personally like to do that because I like to see my account every other week. But like I said, to each their own. If you like the automation process, go for it. I say the biggest thing before you really start getting into investing is setting up an emergency fund. That's typically, like, I think they recommend like 3 to 6 months of like pretty much all your expenses just kind of set away. Like you don't touch this money to pay your bills. You don't touch this to go on vacation. This is strictly for, as the name suggests, an emergency fund. You lose your job, a storm comes by, your roof collapses, whatever it is. This is strictly for that peace of mind. So, after you hit your 3 to 6 months, or if you want 12 months of emergency funds stowed away, whatever your goal is, just determine like your monthly burn rate of money, and then multiply it by whatever amount of months that you want stowed away. This ultimately just gives you that peace of mind when you finally decide, hey, I'm going to start investing. You realize, hey, I can start putting money into the market every month because we have this emergency fund in case of that emergency. So like I said, like that peace of mind really eases your nerves. Like, okay, hey, I'm safe to invest into the market because I have this emergency fund in case, shit hits the fan, God forbid. And ultimately, it makes investing easier because you're not scared that you're going to lose all your money because you have that emergency fund on standby. And, I don't try to look rich. I try to really manage my lifestyle control. I don't care to look rich. I don't care to have fancy ass clothes. I walk around with gray t-shirts, gray t-shirts, pretty much the whole week. And I wear the same gym shorts every day when I go to the gym. I don't go out and buy fancy shoes, fancy watches. Me personally, I don't really care for those things. I don't care for people to look at me and be like, oh man, look at that nice watch. Like, I don't really care. I'd prefer to be secure in my finances and my wealth than looking rich for people who I'll probably never see again at a stoplight. I will say, if you lean more towards trying to look rich or upgrading your lifestyle too fast, I feel it'll definitely keep you broke. It'll prevent you from investing as much as you make or as much as you could because you're too busy buying the new shoes, the new iPhone every year. That kind of goes hand in hand with lifestyle inflation. Maybe you get a new job making more money, and instead of staying in your current apartment that gets the job done, you upgrade to the new fancy apartment, or you start buying lunch at work every day because you make more money. That lifestyle inflation just prevents you from putting more into the market, investing more, and ultimately getting to that goal number, like at the end of the road. So just keep that in mind, guys. Like, don't upgrade your lifestyle too fast. Don't not spend your money. I'm not saying that by any means, but don't overinflate your lifestyle because that'll only delay your ultimate goal of being financially free. And that all really goes hand in hand with like not chasing trends, not buying stupid shit, the new stupid iPhones, the new clothing brand, whatever the case may be. So when it comes to investing, some don'ts that I don't do, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't typically day trade. Very rarely do I check my portfolio every day. One, because the stock market fluctuates; it goes up and down every day, all day. I think you would just kind of start to drive yourself a little crazy there. I don't chase crypto. I'm not super comfortable or super educated on crypto, so I typically stay away from it. I haven't invested into any of it. I've heard mixed things on it. I've heard, hey, we should get into it. That's the future. And I've also heard, it's just kind of a fad. It's just hype. It's going to end up crashing. I think it's currently crashing right now. So maybe it's a good time to buy it, or maybe that's a telltale sign it's super volatile. So stay away from it. I don't know. I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And I had the mindset of, I'm not trying to get rich in the next 12 months. Would that be great? Obviously, I don't think anyone would disagree with that, but investing this way, investing this safe and consistently, just being honest with you guys, it's not going to get you rich in 12 months. This is a long-term goal. It's kind of like a safety net in case shit hits the fan. If you're investing like this to reach a significant value in the market, investing like this, you're probably easily investing for the next 10, 20, 30 years, or maybe even the rest of your life, depending on like what your current age is, or like what your options are when it comes to investing amounts. Like, if you're only able to do $50 a month, obviously it would take you more years to get to your end money goal than someone who's able to invest $1,000 a month. It's just a numbers game. That's just kind of reality. So I think the ultimate thing here is don't compare yourself to others. Like, try to stay away from, like I said, the finance gurus or the finance bros or the crypto bros, or even like coworkers who make more money than you, or started investing before you, or may not have kids and a wife to take care of like you do, so you're not able to invest as much money per month into the market because you gotta pay for the stay-at-home wife to take care of the kids. You're just on different timelines. So my ultimate thing here is, like I said, take everything what I said with a grain of salt. As always, do your own research. I'm not I'm not going to be on here saying, oh, follow my step by step and you're going to be successful. Everyone's timeline is different. Everyone's path is different. Everyone may want something out of life different than the next person, and so on and so forth. So I say ultimately just do your research, figure out where you are in your timeline, figure out where you want to be. Don't compare yourself to others because you're on different timelines. You have different goals in life. The list goes on of the differences, and comparison is the thief of joy, guys. You know, this is a journey. You know, it's not. They say like, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Maybe some people might disagree with that, but you know, I'm starting to kind of lean more toward, yeah, you know, enjoy the journey, because you know you're going to be on this journey for maybe a couple decades, maybe a little less if you get lucky. So I think that's it for me tonight. I've definitely rambled quite a bit. I'm looking at the time of recording. Definitely going to chop some of this up a little bit. But my ultimate thing is, guys, you know, I'm not trying to be rich next year. Would it be nice? Of course it would be nice. It's just not in my cards, at least, unless I get a job making $500K a year, but I highly doubt that. I'm just ultimately trying to be financially free in 10 years, 15 years. You know, something new could change. You know, I could find the love of my life, marry her. We can start popping out kids. You know, really, you know, that's the great thing and the scary thing about life is it can change drastically very quickly. But you know, ultimate goal right now, being financially free in 10 years or less. And you know, if you're building wealth on a normal salary like myself, I strongly believe that this channel is for you, and I feel we can build a pretty solid community around that. So if this sounds like your path, if it sounds like something you wanna join along, you know, feel free to like and subscribe to the video, and I'm gonna document the journey the whole way. So hope everyone takes care and has a good night.